Morning students. In today's lecture of computer architecture and organization, we are going to discuss about input-output interface. In this we are going to see interrupts, what is interrupts and what is DMA mode. Fine. So before starting, we have to understand what exactly the input-output interface is all about, right? So we are going to understand what is input-output interface. Right, so the method that is used to transfer the information between internal storage and external input-output device is known as input-output interface. So what is input-output interface? Input-output interface is nothing but it's basically a method or a system via which you can transfer the information between internal storage and external input-output devices. See, we know that we have to transfer the information from input devices to the इंटरनल स्टोरेज एंड फ्रॉम इंटरनल स्टोरेज टू द एक्सटर्नल इनपुट आउटपुट डिवाइसेस हमें करना पड़ता है ट्रांसफ़र। और वो मेथड जो हम यूज़ करते हैं इन्फॉर्मेशन को ट्रांसफ़र करने के लिए बिटवीन द इंटरनल स्टोरेज एंड द एक्सटर्नल इनपुट आउटपुट डिवाइसेस, दैट मेथड इज नोन एज इनपुट आउटपुट इंटरफेस। क्लियर? नाउ you know the CPU is interfacing use special communication links by peripheral connected to a computer system. We know that there are, any computer system is having a peripheral devices. We know that it is connected to the peripheral devices. So we need something, a special communication link via which what you can do, via which you can connect the peripheral to the computer system. And that special communication links are used to resolve difference between CPU, that is central processing unit, and peripheral devices, right? So there exists a special hardware component between CPU and peripheral to supervise and synchronize all the input and output transfer, that is called interface unit. Now here the definition of interface unit is being mentioned. What is interface unit? Interface unit is nothing but it is actually a special kind of hardware. It is a hardware component that is located in between CPU and peripheral devices, and what is the working of this hardware device is to supervise and synchronize whatever data is being transferred inside and whatever data is delivered outside. So basically what exactly this hardware device is doing, the interface unit is doing. Interface unit is not doing anything but it's actually acting as a special kind of component that is supervising each and every data that is inputted and all the data that has been outputted, and along with that simultaneously it is also synchronizing those data which is being input and output, right? Now after that we are going to see how many modes of transfers are there. We know that the data is being transferred in the form of binary units. You know what is binary unit? Zeros and one. So the binary information is received from the external devices is usually stored in the memory unit. So where exactly we store the data, or the binary, data is in the form of binary information. What is binary information? That is zeros and the one. So where there must be some place where we actually store that data. What is that data? We store that data inside the memory unit. So what this point is saying, the binary information that is received from the external device. What is external devices that gives the binary information? Let's take an example, keyboard. So keyboard is actually giving the data. Whatever data is being given by any external device is stored in the memory units. Where exactly it is stored? It is stored in the memory unit. And the information that is transferred from the CPU to the external devices is originated from memory unit. See what exactly is happening over here. What we know that the data is being transferred in the form of binary unit. What are those binary units? That is zeros and ones. And now what exactly is happening? The information is being taken from the input devices to the memory unit. Now what is happening? The information is transferred from CPU to the external devices. Is basically originated, means what is the origin of the data that is transferred from CPU to the external devices. Like what are the external devices? You all know. So all the data that is being transferred from CPU to the external devices is being originated, or the origin of it is memory unit. Clear this point? Now what we are going to see is in the next point, CPU merely processes the information, but the source and the target is always memory unit. See, whatever, CPU central process unit actually processes the informations, but the source as well as the target is not going to change. It's always going to be memory unit only. Why? Because data is transferred into the memory unit and data is being transferred from the memory unit. Got it? So data transferred between CPU and input output devices may be done in different mode. So there are different types. Now what we are going to study, the next thing that we are going to study is what are the various ways, what are the various ways via which we can transfer the data from CPU to the input output devices. And what are those ways? See, data to and from the peripheral devices may be done in three possible ways. So there are three probability via which we can actually send the data to the peripheral device and take the data from the peripheral device. So actually what we are doing, input devices send the data and output devices take the data. So basically we have three possible ways via which you can actually transfer the data. What are those three possible ways? First is program input output. Second was is interrupt, that is initiated input output, and third is DMA, and DMA stands for direct memory access. Now we are going to discuss these three ways via which we can actually transfer data from the peripheral devices and to the peripheral devices. So first let's take program input output. Now we are going to understand what exactly the program input output is. See, it is due to the result of input output instruction that is written in the computer program. So whatever the results comes out, that is that is the outcome of the instruction that has been fetched to the computer, or else you can say the computer programs. So each data item transfer is initiated by instruction in program. So what are the mode of initiation of data transfer? It is instruction. So actually instruction is basically you can say is doing the job. You can say that they are doing the job of transfer the instruction or initiating the program. So usually the transfer is from CPU register and the memory. Now where are the two ways via which you can transfer the data? See, transfer take place from the CPU register, that is central processing unit. We have discussed about the register in a prior lecture, and the memory. So in this case it's required constant monitoring by the CPU of the peripheral devices. So we require some way via which we can actually monitor, we can actually keep an eye on the peripheral devices. We need something, and what is that thing is going to be, who's going to monitor? That is CPUs only. So let's take an example, the example which is discussed here, example of program input output. So we are taking an example to understand this in more better way, that is what is program input output. So in this case the input output devices does not have direct access to the memory unit. So what exactly happens in program input output, the input output devices, whatever the input output devices may be, whether it's a keyboard or it's a mouse or output devices, monitor or whatever the output devices is, they are not having direct access to the memory. They cannot access the memory directly. So a transfer from input output devices to the memory require execution of several instructions by the CPU. So we know that we don't have any direct access to the memory unit. So obviously we need some instructions to execute them, and who will run that instruction? That is going to be a CPU. So what a transfer from the input output devices to the memory required execution of several instructions by the CPU, which includes an input instruction to transfer the data from the device to the CPU. We know that we are having two types of instructions, input, output and store instructions. So these are the various types of instructions. So when we are talking about fetching something, then input instruction transfers the data from device to the CPU, and store instruction is used to transfer the data from CPU to the memory. So first the data is being transferred from input to CPU, and which instructions are doing this job? Input instruction. And then the next step after that, see, the instruction is first being fetched from input devices to the CPU, and then it is transferred from CPU to the memory, where exactly this instruction is being stored. So in program input output, the CPU stays in program loop until and unless the input output unit indicate that it is ready for transfer. So until unless it doesn't say that okay fine, I'm ready for the transfer of the data, the program loop will keep on moving, and this time consuming process, and it is very time consuming process, since it is necessarily keep the CPU busy. CPU is busy all the time. The loop keeps on going. It's check whether it's ready. So CPU is very busy. So it's very time consuming indeed. So in this situation, we can avoid this by using interrupts. So now the entry of interrupts come. What exactly the interrupts is? Now here the entry of interrupt come, and what actually the interrupts do, that we are going to discuss. Now what is interrupts or initiated input output? See, since in above cases we saw that a CPU is kept busy unnecessarily. We know that until it's not ready, the loop will keep on moving and check whether it's ready or not. So CPU is very busy. So in this situation, what we need to do? In this situation, can be avoided by using interrupt driven method. So here comes the interrupt driven method, as the name itself implies. What do you understand by interrupt? Interrupt means creating a disturbance. Interrupting something, some process which is actually going on is being interrupted. So in this situation can be avoided by that this loop can be interrupted with the help of interrupt driven method for data transfer. Now what we are doing in interrupt, by using interrupt facility, a special command to inform the interface to issue an interrupt request signal. First we ask, okay fine, please create an interrupt request, and whenever the data is available from any devices, whenever the data is available, they'll ask, okay fine, please issue an interrupt. So in meanwhile, the CPU can process any other program, and by the time when the interrupt is being generated, CPU gets the time, right? It gets free, and that time can be used to proceed or to process other program or execution of other program. So in the meantime, what CPU can proceed for any program is determined that the device is ready for data, and we came to know that the data, whatever the device is, it is ready to transfer the data, and it initiate interrupts request signals to the computer, and interrupt request signals comes to the computer. So this interrupt is clear upon the detection of internal signals. So after that, what happens? Upon the detection of external interrupt signals, once the external interrupt signal is being detected, is being seen, the CPU stop momentarily the task that was already performing. So when the interrupt is being generated, some CPU is doing some task. Okay, he's busy in doing some task. All of a sudden, the interrupt is being generated, and once the interrupt is being generated, then whatever task that CPU is doing at that moment, once the interrupt is generated, it has to stop doing that task and branches to serve program to process the input output transfer, and then it can return to the task it was originally performing. So interrupt is basically interrupting the task or the CPU, that is, we know the loops keeps on going to check whether it's ready to know or whether it's ready to know. So the interrupt, the basic function of interrupt is to interrupt or to create interference in the task of a CPU and ask the CPU to do the current job which has been allocated, and after finishing that current job, CPU can again come back to the task that he was doing earlier. So that's all for today. I hope all the things that I have discussed is clear to you, and still if you have any problem, feel free to ask me. Thank you.